My name's Steve Sisolak, and it's all your fault.
So, Governor Sisolak, just to make it clear from your press conference that even if one household does not abide by the rules, we all
Punish
suffer?
them. Gotta punish them.
Everyone, okay.
Yep.
Even taking off masks to do things like maybe
Punish them. They're not wearing the mask. It's their fault. They're the bad guys. I'm trying not to affect the good guys. Gotta punish them.
Okay, one final question. So, in the case of a protest, what would the protocol be for that?
No. I'm not saying they're protests, but it's really silly that they're protesting over masks. But protests, shouldn't be doing them. But I didn't say that. Don't call me on that. And I'm Steve.
I'm Tom.
And this is Demagogue News with things you need to know about episode 44, Steve Sisolak edition.
Oh man, and what a nothingness it was.
Oh boy,
Holy we just seconds ago finished watching his press conference,
and it was the weakest thing. I mean, makes Gavin Newsom sound like a good orator.
Seriously,
he didn't say anything.
I think concrete points we could take away is that there are no more phases.
No more. Yeah, actually, that's a specific thing. No more phases. Yep.
And other than that, I guess keep wearing masks if you are, and start wearing them if you aren't.
Yeah. In fact, if whoever's not wearing masks, it's actually all their fault.
Yeah.
They're the bad guys.
A lot of blame placed on there. One of the last takes of it was, if there's one municipality not doing it, we all suffer.
Yeah. So we're all, even though we might be miles and miles away, if someone in North Las Vegas isn't wearing it, people in Henderson suffer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't get that in a place like Winnemucca or Fallon, where
Mesquite.
Yeah, that's very different than Clark
Elko.
County. Yeah.
What we expected to hear was actually something interesting coming up in the next future, coming weeks, and he actually said nothing for half an hour.
It's actually a skill.
It's actually pretty skillful. It's very much like a politician.
How he can speak that long and not say anything of substance.
Yeah, said absolutely nothing, and then promised nothing, which is smart. As a politician, you promise nothing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So nothing is required of you. He did say that things can stay open, but now it's like the beating eye of the government shall be on all things. He called for more people to be hired for contact tracing, which I don't know if people actually understand what that is. Because I don't know why you need to have to employ so many people when the facts come out if someone's positive or not. Like it's a reactionary thing.
Yeah,
contact tracing.
Once they test positive, they get asked about like where they've been, who they've associated with,
and they can like understand like the spider web of this person's life as they've gone and where they've spread it around possibly.
I mean, since we're this late in the game, contact tracing really shouldn't even be a thing. Like, it was more important when we first started getting the cases.
When there was 5 people, it would have been really nice to have contact tracing. When there was 10, when there's 100 people. Not when there's 35,000 now in Nevada.
Yeah.
40,000.
I guess it's wild us talking about that, because when we went to Arizona, like they had 14,000 cases, and we thought that was a lot.
Yeah, and now in little old Nevada, little old Las Vegas, we got 40 something. It's 35, 40. We had 1,000. We were doing 1,000 new cases a day. So I don't even know. That was the most waste of time that our elected officials did anything.
And, probably the best question was, is there a chance that the casinos, if they are not like following the rules, will be shut down? And Sisolak expertly dodged that question.
Yeah, I can't say nothing about that.
Oh, definitely. Well, if there is an allegation, we will look into it.
They got their own plans.
Exactly.
They set up all their own protocols. So are they going to close? No, they can never close.
And that was one of the big scares for us, was going back to phase 0. But luckily, cronyism is a big thing here in Nevada.
Yeah, the fact that he's not closing on casinos is pretty obvious that's solid favoritism right there to make sure that the beating heart of Vegas the flame of Vegas doesn't, get blown out again.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, yes, but also, like, what guns are you going to be sticking to?
Oh, his own.
His own, yeah. or their own.
So all I have to say is thank you for special interest groups for keeping Nevada open. God bless you.
We've really changed our politics in the last couple months, haven't we, Tom?
Yeah, I really had to question a lot. And before I was like, oh yeah, the only like the private citizen loses when government and private industry cooperate. Not this time.
Not
fuckos.
this time. This is new, like political science happening right now.
It is. I've never seen this
the
shit.
actions of people and how they interact. Yeah, in this last week, it's been interesting because, like, I mean, we talked about Portland last time. There's still an uprest in that. We can mention that, but
It's
nothing.
still super relevant.
Nothing too wild has happened, really.
I
in
mean,
this
not
last 4 days.
aside from like what was it, the last time we recorded? They were still trying to take the courthouse. That really hasn't changed.
Yeah, it's a game of cat and mouse now. Portland's it's almost becoming like macabre. Like they do things, they yell, they get arrested, blah 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 blah. They shoot fireworks at the police. They attack the the National Guard that's there. They get blown away, and then they get BTFO'd, and they run away, and then it's over, and it's 4 a.m. and you've ruined again another street in Portland. Like there's no point. There's no message. It's anger, and at this point now it's just dumb.
Yeah, it's Steve and I were talking about this last night when we were watching the live stream. It's like Sisyphus pushing up the boulder. Like each day it starts anew.
Yeah, and it's not like they're not any closer to anything.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the exact same position they were yesterday, and they got in the hill up to the exact same position they were. The rock up the hill, the exact same position, and it rolled down to the exact same position. It's almost sad to watch at this point now.
It's not like Sisyphus though. The numbers that we're starting to get for stats like business revenue, foot traffic in downtown Portland. I'm seeing all of the stats are around a 75% loss.
Really?
So far.
People don't
shocking.
People don't want to shop during a riot?
So
why is that?
Yeah, and some other unintended consequences like the homeless. You've said that when you went to Portland, when it was still like a city, was a bad situation.
Oh, now it must be hilarious.
Yeah, they don't even clean up any of it or police it at all, so that's gotten way worse.
God. Yeah, Rob must have had some stories. It must be chaos now. I mean, there have been articles written that Portland city workers are just repairing the fence around the federal courthouse every single day. So they break it down, and we fix it every day. So it's a cyclical thing.
At least you know what to expect when you go into work.
At least you know it's going to happen. Let me clean up some trash, get a lot of tear gas canisters, a mask or two that's been left on the ground, whatever.
Punch out by 5. Protests don't start until like
5:30.
I'm all right, man.
Happy hour. Hey, 30 minutes of happy hour before they storm the bar.
Can you imagine that? Like you race over to like a neighboring town so you could sit and have happy hour and watch the shit happen that you're going to clean up the next morning.
Man, I just cleaned that today. Oh, come on, guys. Oh, dang, I'll have to scrub that graffiti off again. It's a joke.
Yeah, it is. It's rather silly. And speaking of the federal agents situation there, I know President Trump's sending in, I want to say it's 100 more deputy marshals to reinforce like the federal agents there.
There was a fair amount last night, so 100. I don't know. It's hilarious to watch how people interact with them once they finally come out of the federal courthouse. Because what they do is they're doing warning like shows of force, saying if you don't leave, we're gonna arrest you. So they give them all the time in the world to go away. Then they come out and they start arresting people, and they act like they get freaked out like why is this happening? What's happening? Why is this happening to us? Like for 2 hours they said go away, and then you didn't, and then they arrested you. I'm sorry. What did you expect?
It seems to be the overall theme for a lot of these protesters. I've watched footage from New York where it's like the same thing, like this lady like screaming in their faces and whatnot. And they're saying like, "Ma'am, get back!" And then when they arrested her, she's screaming, and people are like, "Are you serious? Like this really happened?"
What did she do? I'm not doing anything wrong. It's infantile, like
it is.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Dude, if we want to talk about like people who didn't see consequences coming, let's talk about Garrett Foster.
Oh, Garrett Foster. Now there's a story. I think that the big thing that's come out now. We didn't talk about this last week?
No, because it happened yesterday.
Yeah, it happened yesterday. That's right. So Portland's obviously, and these protests are going all around, the U.S., mostly in liberal cities. But
Actually, I think just about exclusively in liberal cities.
I think you're absolutely correct. It's exclusively liberal cities. In good old Austin, Tejas.
Yeah, the blueberry and the tomato soup.
You know what? It's a great place.
I've heard lots of good things about Austin.
People love Austin. I think Joe Rogan's going to Austin, honestly.
That would be more his style.
Yeah. Protest. And unlike that, Portland is not in a specific area, so there's still traffic. There's still downtown Austin traffic going along. And people in Texas like their guns. You know what? It's a pretty free place.
Yeah. If you could think of the freest state in the union, pretty hard to beat Texas.
Between Texas and Alaska. That's about it. And I don't want to go to Alaska. Well, there's a gentleman by the name of Garrett Foster, and he was open carrying an AK-47, which is his right, as per the Second Amendment, to do that. And second thing you should know about Garrett Foster, he's dating a quadruple amputee. Okay. Interesting little tidbit. Well,
for some reason, that's always included as a tagline.
It's always
to his name.
included.
Like, it'd be like Garrett Foster, MD.
Boyfriend.
It's like Garrett Foster dates a quadruple MD.
Yeah.
Amputee. They're just so
MD,
similar.
amputee.
He's an MD on amputees.
Yeah, well, he was.
Yeah.
He was, Tom. Well, during this protest, and apparently he's also very significant in the Austin protesting scene, he was crossing the street, and a SUV was trying to cross the street into the protests, and allegedly, this is all allegedly, the facts haven't come out enough yet, but allegedly he pointed his AK-47 at this SUV, and a passenger or the driver in the car decided to shoot him because he pointed a rifle at his car and killed him dead on the spot. And that was the story of Garrett Foster. What a shitty way to go.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you point a gun at somebody, you better be ready to use it. Like, that's the only reason.
Lickety-split.
Yeah.
You better be intending to shoot somebody right in the face. And apparently Garrett wasn't intending to do that.
Yeah, slowest gun in the West.
And the driver of this SUV did not know that Garrett was not going to shoot him because he was pointing a rifle at his face, and he decided to do what every Texan should do and shoot the problem, which is what people in Texas do all the time.
Yeah.
They have wonderful gun laws, and you're allowed to defend yourself in a time when your life is being threatened. And Garrett died. And immediately, there's the two live streams of it happening. Someone apparently else in the crowd shot at the vehicle, which then sped away speedily. And it comes to a good question of who's wrong in that situation. Obviously, what we believe is that Garrett Foster was wrong.
Yeah.
But the overarching reality of what the media, who do they think is wrong? Because gun laws don't happen in Texas.
No. There's two conflicting accounts of what exactly happened regarding the SUV. So the one that a lot of media outlets are portraying is that the car drove past the protests, saw they were protests, turned around abruptly, came back
convenient.
To essentially insinuate that they came back specifically to shoot someone.
Assault, run over.
Yeah. The second one was that the car was mobbed by people, and in that mob was Garrett Foster pointing his AK-47, and he was the first target of the armed individual within the car. So the car sped off, afterwards, and this is kind of unanimous for everyone. And the driver calls, says they were in a shooting.
That's right.
Had to report, but they had to flee the scene for their own safety, and they turned themselves in. That to me doesn't sound like somebody who did like a premeditated murder. Like,
if he was found that this person in this vehicle was in the wrong, it might be manslaughter.
Yeah,
it's going to be put as manslaughter because it wasn't mental illness, a fit of passion, or premeditated. So it was not defined as murder. It was, and if it was counted as self-defense, then this person's going to get off scot-free, which I believe is probably accurate.
Yeah,
unfortunately for Garrett, but I think that's one of the first times. Actually, it's not the first time. That's an accidental death that happened at a protest. It also happened in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, that's a good one.
There was the NFAC. Did we figure out what that stood for?
Not fucking around anymore coalition. NFAC.
Not fucking around anymore coalition.
Yeah.
That's a good name. It's not bad.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite
It's
out of
actually
any
not
of the
that bad.
protesting names.
This is a group of militant black individuals who are gun owners and would like to employ that to be able to go to their ideological ideas, which I also don't have a problem with.
I mean, they haven't used them on
They
anyone yet.
they are showing force and showing solidarity, and nothing's wrong with that yet. And they were in this large, I believe it was a park, it was in front of a.
It was a park.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people, all dressed in black, all looking all serious, and somebody forgot how to use a firearm, and shot themselves, and I believe 2 other people during them organizing the protest, and chaos ensued. Eventually, they had to get everybody to kneel down just so that they can get everybody to stop moving because nobody knew what happened. There was gunshots and people got shot. I think it just goes to show again that people don't know how to use firearms. They shouldn't have them. And I mean, it shows the immaturity of these organizations. They're not serious if you can't just stand there and don't do anything.
That certainly doesn't help your cause.
It doesn't help your cause if you can't just like stand there. Don't do anything. Don't touch anything. You have a gun. You don't know how to use it. Maybe you shouldn't be touching it. Maybe that's something you should give to somebody else.
Yeah. And with the NFAC as well, like their initial reason for protesting I think is more legitimate than a lot of the others because they're protesting about Breonna Taylor in the state of Kentucky, who was shot in her bed in her home.
That's one of the worst things that's happened. Yeah, from a no-knock raid in which her boyfriend starts to shoot the police and then gets arrested for,
Yeah, I think
assault.
that's bogus too. He's defending himself.
He's been gotten off. The charges have been dropped, but she's still dead.
Yeah, she's still dead.
Which don't help nobody.
Unfortunately, they're also protesting for what's this guy's name? I think it's Jay Sisolak was the guy's name. Back in May when there were riots in Kentucky, Jay Sisolak broke into a bar in which the owner was camped out there with a firearm, and the bar owner killed him.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, right. So of course the bar owner wasn't charged because he was defending his property, but apparently that's bad too. Even though Jay Sisolak was breaking into somebody else's property.
Well, it just goes to show because that bar owner believes in his property more than he believes in the life of Mr. Sisolak.
That's always the counter argument. But don't you value your own life?
I think I value my own. Well, obviously he didn't value his own life more than he valued the bar owner's items.
Yeah.
So he decided to risk his life in exchange for the ability to get those items, and it didn't work out. That's what it is. You risk your life.
Mm-hmm.
This bar owner wasn't risking his life. He was defending his life. And life, liberty, and the
pursuit of happiness.
Yeah,
it's the American dream.
The right of property.
Yes,
you're allowed to have things and be your own, and nobody can take them from you. Well, it didn't work out for Mr. Schuler. And these things are going to keep happening.
Definitely.
Eventually, I mean, Target got ravaged in Minnesota, and then Target corporate said, "Oh, it's fine. Just don't worry about it. We can afford it." Well, Mr. Small Business Owner cannot afford it.
No.
Not only are they being fucked by the coronavirus, having people steal their shit isn't going to help either.
Same with over the weekend, a Starbucks in LA was completely torched.
That's great.
Like, what did Starbucks ever do to you?
That damn coffee's too expensive. You know what? They're all, even though they are fair trade, they are a wealthy business that is capitalizing on the labor of their employees, and that's stealing from them. So take the means of production. Starbucks.
What I don't get is you definitely have it within your power to quit your job and
go
find something that you think more fairly compensates
doesn't
you.
work. They exploit people in the coffee trade.
This must be rough.
It must be rough. Must be rough. Yeah. It's been interesting.
Yeah, just a bit.
But I think the most interesting thing is what you looked at today. We have a new stimulus package coming up, possibly, by the Republicans.
Yeah, it's called the HEALS Act. Real quick, just for me to wrap up protests, because there is one interesting one I just wanted to briefly mention. So Gavin Newsom has been very pro the protests and whatnot.
Right.
So a dozen protesters chained themselves to the front of his house in Fair Oaks, California, because he wasn't letting out. He was transferring prisoners to ICE who were
deporting them.
Yeah, undocumented individuals in this country, as well as not letting prisoners out for
the coronavirus.
Yeah, for the coronavirus.
Wonderful.
So the people who were there were either illegal immigrants or immigration lawyers. But I just thought that was hilarious. Like, Gavin Newsom has bent the knee deeper than anyone, and he's like, you just can't
Not
bend the
low
knee
enough. Not low enough.
You can never appease like the
Did they
masses,
chain themselves
I
to
guess.
the street or to like his
to his
porch?
like front porch.
That is great.
It's like, holy shit.
Well, that makes it really easy to arrest all of them for
Mhm.
trespassing.
Yeah, right. And that's what
Which
they
I-
were arrested for.
Oh, it's really strange. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
Fuck. They should sue.
Yeah, I mean, they are lawyers.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
hilarious.
Okay, so the HEALS Act, though.
The HEALS Act. The most interesting thing to happen in the last 4 days.
Yeah, that actually just happened today, which is very convenient for us, considering we recorded today. So it was all Republicans who presented it. This was the Republican
Republican one,
it's
right, yeah.
the Republican answer to the HEROES Act that Democrats had initially introduced.
Right.
So it was all the major players in the Republican Senate. So Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney, Marco Rubio, was it Susan Collins, Tim Scott,
The usual suspects.
the big name Republican senators were all there in attendance. So let me
Any
get
Democrats in attendance?
not speaking.
Probably not. No.
Yeah, I don't know one of them. I forgot the guy's name. Is an old dude, but his phone kept ringing during it. I wanted to go through the screen and punch him in the face. Dude, this is
No
highly
respect.
unprofessional.
Well, was he? He doesn't give a fuck.
I mean, probably not.
He doesn't give. Oh, whatever. My phone. I'm busy.
So let's see. A family of 4 would still receive I think $3,400. I think that's a one-time payment.
Well, that was the same as last time for the
Yeah,
stimulus.
they had said
12
that.
plus 12 plus 5 plus 5.
So in addition to that, they'd be extending the additional unemployment insurance, and they would try to adjust it to 75% of your regular income pre-COVID.
Oh, instead of this unemployment plus, it's just
Yeah, plus
75%.
600, which was just a blanket term. This one would actually try to zero in on what you were making so that you're not incentivized to stay out of the workforce.
That is not a lot.
No.
Hmm.
Further tax relief for businesses so that they can keep
The doors
people
open.
employed. I think Marco Rubio had said that 95% of businesses owned by ethnic minorities have less than 2 weeks of cash on hand, which, given the circumstances of coronavirus, is not implausible at all.
Right. Again, it's not going to be over in 2 weeks. So.
Yeah. There's stimulus to medical equipment manufacturers in the United States so we can get off some of our reliance from China.
Makes sense.
There's also a push for in-person schooling, which I think the Dems will definitely shoot this down because it's a push for school choice. If you want your kid to be in person in school and your school district doesn't allow them, you can change districts if somebody else is having in-person classes.
That wouldn't work for Vegas, but if you lived in L.A. and maybe in San Bernardino County, and you live in the outskirts of L.A. County, you get your kid to go to school if that was the situation.
Yeah.
A lot of other states have a lot tinier counties, so
Mhm.
that's a lot better than the West Coast.
Yeah,
a lot
exactly.
Of big counties.
East Coast, this would be much more plausible.
Yeah.
Let's see. They're also and they admitted this while they were announcing it, that they're backing also part of this bill would be backing any U.S. medical company creating a vaccine. So they said, we're going to lose money because some of these vaccines won't work, but because we're backing all of them, we have to one of our horses will win since we're betting on everyone in the race.
Right. So they've opened up an unlimited money grant to anybody who's going to be working on COVID vaccines.
In the United States, yes.
In the United
Again,
States.
these are Republicans and they hate China.
Right.
So that's their thing. So also they, Mitt Romney had addressed that Medicare and Social Security are on the verge of insolvency, which was a thing before COVID.
From what I read, Obama said 2037 is going to run out of money. What's it now, 2030?
I
We
thought,
already knew we're never getting Social Security.
we're paying money to nothing.
Yeah.
So
And Medicaid's already blown out of proportion as a single, zero, no payer. It's an every payer but no payer healthcare plan.
figure that one out, folks. So I guess the big takeaway from this specific bill was that it had a lot of things in it. It's like they were trying to beat the Dems to the punch on a lot of these grants and whatnot, because a lot of them were for businesses of people of color, child care for single mothers.
You're already going to say it. We'll say it first. Fine, we already accept that. Run it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the Dems will definitely counter with just inflating the shit out of the numbers already established by Republicans.
How much was this one going to cost?
They didn't give an overall number.
Oh,
But probably I
it's
think
probably at
Mitch
least
McConnell had thrown out $1 trillion.
$1 trillion. So that's probably a third of what the Democrats are going to put forward.
Yeah, the Dems will definitely try to get it up to $3 trillion. I mean, Mitch McConnell, who opened everything and closed it up, considering he's the head honcho,
Right.
said, he repeated the fact that we love to use, which is we've spent as much as we spent on World War II.
He said that?
Yeah, he's like,
Perfect.
this is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, he's got that Southern Kentucky drawl.
so, I mean, I thought overall, like, as a fiscal conservative, I don't like it, but if they're, I thought it was politically very good positioning on their part.
Well, it was smart to come out first because from what I've read, the next session is going to be August 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to figure it out by then.
Yeah.
Which is also really not that that's 11 days from now.
Mm-hmm.
So Democrats, I mean, if anything, they'll just add on to whatever is already on there.
Exactly.
They're just going to add on extra and then change over unemployment to back to what it was or maybe a little less, but it's still going to be too much.
I think that's what they've the Republicans' attempt was to create a foundation so that they drew out the lines. It's like you can keep building up, but you can't build out.
Right, exactly. Just keep stacking on top, but don't do anything different.
Yeah, so it's
probably pretty smart.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think politically it was a good move.
Yeah,
just not
The
fiscally.
HEALS Act,
Yeah.
caring, healing.
Yeah, I just want like something with like a terrible name.
The Niels Act.
The Niels Act.
Gotta keep the rhyme. Cares, heals, kneels, wheels. Wonder how Ted Wheeler's doing right now.
Hiding. Probably doesn't want to get gassed again. I'll tell you that much.
He definitely wasn't there last night. Mayor of Portland. Nowhere to be found, funny enough.
That's a great example of a politician who bent the knee and how low can you go?
Well, he went woke and he went broke.
Oh, they broke him real
fast. Yeah, well, we'll see. Another Trump check, I wouldn't be surprised if that comes through. I think the interesting thing, that only thing that Sisolak pointed out, especially for Nevada specifically, is that our eviction moratorium ends in September.
Mm-hmm.
So if everything sucks and still in September, which is a month and 11 days from now. No, it's a month plus 4 days from now.
Mm-hmm.
35 days from now is September. So there's one more month, August, where people get no evictions. But if you're in the same spot in September, how's that going to work? Because landowners are still paying taxes. Mm-hmm. So they got property taxes. And I'm sure they're still paying their mortgage to the bank for their property.
Yeah.
With
no income.
with no income because no one's been paying rent. So how's that going to work?
That'll be interesting because if Nevadans operate the way that I think they do, they haven't been saving any of their stimulus money.
No. In fact, most people in Vegas live fast and die young and have a good-looking corpse. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, good luck on that. Jeez. Well, do you have any COVID news?
The Rona's here and to stay, apparently. From multiple scientists, this isn't going to be new. And I think the number one thing, we're putting all this money into a vaccine. Again, it's not a if. It's not a when. It's an if we get a vaccine. We still don't have a good vaccine for the flu. We still got a good vaccine for SARS, and it's been around forever. So places like Oregon, their phase 3 is requiring a vaccine. Are they never going to open then?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, California never going to. It's every single Silicon Valley company going to move to Texas and New Hampshire and Vermont, where it's Democrat or it's Republican held. And there's, well, not Vermont, but they go to Florida. They're going to go to any place that's open so they can connect business.
Well, somebody we know and love is moving to Texas.
I mean, Nashville, Tennessee, Republican, metropolitan. You can make Silicon Valley and you can make Music Valley Technology Center, and boom. MVTC. There you go. Start it up, somebody rich and famous.
I think that's kind of what, the ploy for all of this shutting down is to cripple Trump in the election and whatnot. But what a lot of these large cities, you're going to see a de-urbanization from a lot of classic urban centers in the U.S. because the people who are in charge of them just make it unbearable to live there.
Yeah, it's almost impossible.
Yeah, tons of taxes. Now you're locked down. You can't do anything.
You still owe taxes.
Yeah, you still
That's
owe
not
your
stopping.
damn taxes. They're letting protests and homelessness kind of like ravage the core of your city.
And the places that don't open, their budgets are in the fucking shitter.
Yeah.
So were they gonna do more taxes, let go of things? Now it's even worse to live there.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to stop paying their pensions, and that's you paying other people's pensions. So like, what are you going to do?
Many cities and states, most of Idaho is being ruined by pensions. Yeah, many cities can barely pay their public pensions from their government employees. And now they have no money. How are they going to pay the pension next year? God only knows.
So, they're just terribly managed. They're unbearable to live in because you don't get the amenities that you would have for paying all these taxes. So, that's why our good friend Joe Rogan is...
among others. Or they're all moving to Texas, Tennessee, Arkansas.
Elon Musk is building a factory in Texas. So there's a very good chance he's putting one foot...
one foot in, one foot out. Yeah.
To eventually ease his way out of California, because he's definitely had clashes with their government.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird, man. It's gonna be weird. Maybe California real estate's gonna become really cheap in the next 10 years.
Maybe. That would be cool.
Because it sucks to live there now.
Like, are any people buying homes in California?
God, being a California realtor must suck right now. Because ironically, in Vegas, I see realtors making money right now because everyone's buying at places that aren't bad.
Yeah.
But you're a realtor in Glendale, downtown LA. No one's buying shit about nothing in downtown LA. No one's buying nothing. You want to buy a house off Melrose and Vine? Ain't happening.
I mean, you could.
I mean, you could if you got $1 billion.
Good luck on getting a return on your investment, though.
Right? Yeah. It's already cost $2 million, so like, it ain't going up.
Man. So, I guess I'll just round out some of this stuff since we're on the topic here. Yeah, that's all garbage. But all right,
it's all garbage.
Yeah, I just want to throw a lot of things in the dumpster out of 2020. But I guess with the situation in cities and like the situation with the protests and the virus and whatnot, to me, this all kind of represents like a breakdown of like civilization.
It looks like the fall of the Roman Empire, don't it?
Yeah, it sure feels like it.
Sure feels like it.
And it's like, I've heard this story.
Do we, like, what happened? Because when Trump wins again, what is the night of November 4th going to look like?
It's guaranteed riots.
Guaranteed. Oh, man. If we get bet an over-under on that, that'd be amazing. Makes so much money right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, as an American citizen.
That's if you can bet on American politics, oh my gosh, that'd be great money to make.
Yeah, so it's pretty much like, which in effect is kind of terrorism, threatening violence unless you get what you want, like
for an idea or an ideology.
Yeah, against soft targets. Yeah, that's
it's not
it's called terrorism.
Because Antifa is anti-fascists, and they're not the fascists. They're not the bad people.
Yeah, but when
it's in the name.
Yeah,
it's in the name.
And unfortunately, because of the situation we're in, I see the most likely results immediately afterwards being anarchy or authoritarianism.
Just straight up police state, like for realsies?
Yeah, like if you want to crush them, like you're going to have to use iron-fisted tactics, or you can just have like no rules because violence is ruling the day anyway.
And then the same... But the thing is, if the anarchy or a breakdown happens, the same result happens.
Yeah.
Is that people are going to die. Lots of people are going to die.
And, we certainly don't want that.
We don't want that. But it doesn't look very pretty at the end of this tunnel.
Mm-mm. Not at all. Which, it's a shame. Like, America, I think it's founded on a lot of great ideals, but apparently it's, systemically racist and flawed, and...
We should move to the Florida Keys.
That's still U.S. territory.
Yeah. We can swim to Cuba.
Is it opposite day?
American refugees in Cuba. Yeah. They'll make their own bill just so anybody who gets into Cuban soil can stay.
Oh,
just
man.
like how it was in Florida back in the 70s and 80s.
I mean, I'm in Colombia, to be honest. Like
Colombia, you're going to Medellin?
Yep. Exactly.
Exactly. Now I'm going to Santiago. Or I'm going to Phuket. We're going to Thailand. Learn Thai.
Thailand's pretty, pretty affordable.
And they leave people the fuck alone in Thailand.
Yeah, plenty of beaches too. Actually.
A lot of beaches, a lot of beachfront property for real cheap. But
this might be our year.
This might be our year.
New lives abroad.
Start new lives. I know. That's about it. Nothing looks great. Everything's on fire. Everyone's screaming. Good morning, Vietnam. Oh man.
Well, as always, keep your head on that swivel.